Good evening, everyone. I'm Sumit Tripathi, a business communication and public speaking coach, and today I'll be answering 12 important questions about negotiation. So grab your tea, grab some snacks, and let's begin. So, the first important question about negotiation is, why should I negotiate? Because, of course, is it really worth what you will get? So the simple answer is you negotiate to get the best price. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, it doesn't matter, but you're looking for the best price, right? And that's why you should negotiate. And by the end of this video, I can promise you that if you're a new entrepreneur, you will get a lot of perspective on how to negotiate. Because once the why is clear, the next step is the how, and that is what I will be solving by answering these questions. The second question is, what if I lose a client? When you begin negotiations, especially when you're starting, you have this big fear that, hey, what if my negotiation drives them away? What if I lose them? You have to understand something called the abundance mindset here. So the abundance mindset is that there is no one client that you have to work with. There are a lot of people, but you have to find those people. You have to find the right people. Because when you find the wrong people, right, it becomes hell. Maybe they're taking a lot of time in making their decisions. Maybe they're really bickering over your quality, over your price, and it's really annoying to work with them. So finding the right people is what negotiation helps you with. It helps you filter those people. Then the third question is, how do I counter a negotiation? So when you have to counter a negotiation, there is a simple formula called the ACT strategy. Now what is ACT? It is acknowledge, convey, and transform. So if you have to maybe counter a negotiation, all you have to do is first acknowledge the prospect and say that, hey, I understand that you're facing this issue. Once you acknowledge, then you convey. Don't convince over here, only convey that, but my prices are this much and I charge all my clients this, so I conveyed. Then transform. So transform it into the problem they are facing and how big that problem is for them. And one thing I like to do is I try to show them what they're already paying for not solving that problem. Now imagine maybe there is a business owner and they're only closing one client out of every 10 calls they take, out of every 10 consultation calls. So over there, what they're paying is actually the cost of those 9 clients that they could have converted. And then I show them that, hey, you're already paying this much for not converting those clients. And this is my charge to help you solve that problem. Then it becomes a no-brainer, right? Because when your value is so much and your price is lesser to compare to what they're already paying to not solve that problem, they really have to go for your solution to really make an impact and solve their problem. So find the cost they are paying for not solving that problem. Then let's move on to the fourth question, which is, how do I know if I'm getting the best price? Now, especially in the service industry, it can be very confusing, right? That, hey, am I even charging the right prices? Should I charge more? Should I charge less? So a simple trick here is to find your hourly rate. And how can you find that? This number can vary for different people, and it's totally up to you what you want your hourly rate to be. Like for me, I want to go on a range of maybe 2,000 to 2,500 for now. That is my hourly rate. Then when a client or a prospect comes with different requirements, different scopes of work, then you understand how much time that will take. Maybe it can take you 30 hours or 40 hours or 100 hours. Then simply just multiply your hourly rate with the time you will take on the project. Then you'll find a range. And once you find that range, you want to work within the range. So if a client is quoting a price which is much lesser than your range, then it's a straight no, because it's simple. You're getting underpaid. And if they are quoting something above your range, only then take the deal, or if it's within the range, you can take the deal. So now you understand that when you break down your price like that to an hourly rate, it becomes very easy. It doesn't become confusing. Now let's go on to question number 5, which is, how do I deal with panic during negotiation. Now, a lot of people, especially when they're starting out, they start to panic that, hey, I'm negotiating for the first time. Will it go well? And over here, you have to understand one thing. You are only panicking because of your low confidence in your own abilities. So once you gain that confidence in your own abilities, in your own service, that panic will automatically go away. And for you to do that, what you have to do is maybe go to professionals in your industry, ask them for feedback, show your work. And once you show that, you will understand where you stand. And once you understand that, automatically your confidence in your ability will increase. And once that increases, you will never panic again. And in negotiations, you have to stay calm, right? Because if you're not calm with your negotiations, the client can see right through that. And when you're not confident, they will definitely take that and take advantage of that. They'll be like, hey, let's lower the price. And after that, you're not satisfied and they ultimately win. In a negotiation, a good negotiation, both parties should win. It should never be that only one party is satisfied and the other party is dissatisfied. That's not how it works. Now let's go to question number 6, which is, when should I negotiate? Now the answer to this is quite simple, but most people don't understand. Only negotiate when you feel that your needs are not being satisfied. If you feel at one point that, hey, I'm putting this much effort, but I guess my client or my prospect is not satisfying those needs that I expect from them. Maybe they're not paying me enough, or maybe they're micromanaging. So over there, you have to understand that negotiation is very important, because you have to set your own rules, you have to set your own terms so that you are able to work comfortably and deliver the best results. So only negotiate when you feel that your needs are not being satisfied. Now, question number 7 is very interesting. I've seen a lot of business owners do this, whether it's new or old. A lot of people do this. And that is, do I immediately drop my prices? So especially when a client starts to negotiate, what happens is a lot of business owners, they immediately say that, hey, let me give you a discount, 20% off, 30% off. Sometimes I've even heard some clients, some business owners say 50% off. But that is not the best way. You're not supposed to just immediately drop your prices. You have to first find the best option that works for both of you. If maybe the client is saying that, hey, the price is too high, ask them for partial payments or payments in installments. And if that works for them, if they say that that does not work for me, then maybe try to pitch them something which is low ticket. A low ticket offer can also help them convert and help you get paid the fair amount. And only if you want to work with the client really badly, maybe they have something that is non-monetary but of value to you, like a testimonial. Suppose they are in a very senior position and their testimonial will be priceless to you. Only then can you consider even dropping your prices. And when you want to drop your prices, follow something called the 20% rule. So let me explain with an example. So imagine that the fair price for you is 100 rupees. At 100 rupees, you're satisfied. So you will pitch to the client 120 rupees, which is 20% on top of the fair price. And after negotiations, the minimum you should be charging is 90 rupees. Below that is not worth it. So because if a client is negotiating more than 30% of your value that you have pitched to them, then it is never worth it. And you have to understand that finding the right people in the service industry is very important. So you have to leave that client if they're going below that 90% threshold. So increase your price by 20% first, then bring it down to that amount, which is the 90 rupees over there we discussed. First 120, 100, then 90. So only bring it down maximum by 30% and only do it during desperate situations where you really want to work with the so-called client. Because really if you go below that, it means that the client does not respect you and it will not go well in the long term. Now let's go to question number 8, which is, how do I catch a client's bluff? Because catching a client's bluff is very important. Sometimes a client will say almost anything just for you to get your prices down, and you have to understand, you have to be smart about it, that is the person saying the truth Or maybe do they have other intentions? Do they want me to reduce my prices and that's why they're saying this? Now, common bluffs can be that, hey, we are working with you long term, or hey, it's really out of our budget, we can't do this, or maybe we are going through a really rough period in our company. So over there, you have to look for contradicting statements. So whenever you're speaking to a client, observe and understand if what they're saying is true. They will never contradict themselves. Now, once I had a client who I was negotiating with, and they said that this is out of our budget. But before that, they said that they run 3 profitable companies. And when we asked for a marketing budget of 1 lakh, they were very hesitant. So over here, you have to understand that when they earn so much, they are earning and they have 3 profitable companies, they are able to afford you. So either there must be some other issue that they are facing with you. It could be something related to trust or authority or experience. Find that issue. And if they are really adamant that only the price is the problem, then you know that they are bluffing. That's where your negotiation skills come to the test. So really, understanding and calling a client's bluffs are very important. Look for contradicting statements. Now, question 9 is, how do I understand the market price? When you want to understand the market price, especially in the service industry, you have to first realize something, that there is nothing called a market price in the service industry specifically, because there are lakhs of people who can give the same service, but there is only one person, which is you, who can give the service that you can provide on your own terms. Like, there is this customization in your service, right? No other person is as unique as you. And that's why only you can set your price. The market can never set your price. Now, I charge 10 to 15,000 for my business communication coaching, which is a one-on-one thing. Maybe there's a coach who charges 10 to 15 lakhs. That does not mean that they may be teaching something different. They might be teaching the same thing as well. But just because they believe in their prices and they are able to show that they've worked with a lot of people, people are willing to pay that. So understand the problem, understand if you can solve them, then set your own price, something you are satisfied with. Fine? So there's no such thing called a market price. Now, question number 10, which is, how do I deal with disagreement? Now, when there is disagreement, which often happens in negotiation, you have to remember 2 things, which is active listening. So what is active listening? Listen without judgment. Listen like your life depended on it. And the second thing is mirroring. So whenever a client is speaking, try to summarize what they said and try to repeat the last few words so that they feel heard. Because a client only disagrees when they're not feeling heard. If they feel heard, they will allow you to speak. And that's where you can justify why maybe you're doing some action. So once you justify your action logically, only then will the client agree with you, right? And for them to even hear you out, you have to first make them feel heard. So active listening and mirroring is the solution to any disagreement in negotiations. And the 11th question is, what is the difference between a good negotiation and a bad negotiation? So there's a very simple difference. In a good negotiation, both parties are satisfied with what they're getting. But in a bad negotiation, only one party is satisfied with what they get. Now this can either be the buying party or the selling party. And the problem with this occurs in the future, especially in the service industry. Maybe if the selling party is not satisfied, the services, the quality might deteriorate. If the buying party isn't satisfied, maybe they might have more demands, they might micromanage, they may not be satisfied no matter what you provide them. So make sure that in a winning negotiation, both parties are satisfied with what they get. If you feel that maybe the buying party is not satisfied with what you're giving, try to understand why and try to really clarify that doubt, clarify those problems they're facing. Make yourself transparent, and only then will both parties be satisfied with what they get. And once they are satisfied, it is easy to work with people, and once people cooperate, you also have a good experience, they also have a good experience, and that's how you become great at your service. And the last question for today, which is in fact the most important question of this video, is how do I close a deal? Because if you don't close a deal, no matter how much negotiation you do, it's pointless, right? So to close a deal, you have to understand something called objection handling. Now, after you pitch, your client will always have a few objections and you have to clarify them. Now, they usually occur in a pattern of 4 main things. So the first objection they might have is price, then experience. They might have an objection with the timeline or the process. So once you understand those 4 objections and you know how to answer them satisfactorily, then you're able to close that deal. Now, unfortunately in business, everybody is different. Everybody has a different answer to this question. So you must have seen reels or YouTube shorts where they have specific answers for these questions, but they usually never work. Because every person is different, their industry is different, there's so many variables. So try to find your own answers. Every client call you take is a data point. So start noting down those objections you face. And after that, in your free time, reflect on it and try to get the best answers for them. So this is your own journey, your own process, and that is what will help you close those deals. So if you found this video helpful and you learned something new about negotiation, then I suggest you subscribe to the channel. You can like this video. You can share it with people because it's free knowledge and I love to give value to my audience. And if you're someone who is a new entrepreneur and you want to learn business communication skills, then you don't have to look anywhere else. You can book a free consultation call with me through the link in the description, and I would love to help you out. So I'll see you in the next video, and thank you for your time. Bye bye for now.